Just yesterday, the federal government announced the introduction of a new policy which will ensure whistleblowers are protected and rewarded for exposing cases of economic and financial crimes. This initiative, which is expected to run online, is expected to aid the government, prosecute individuals and groups that violate financial regulations in the public and private sectors. Joining me now on the News at 10 to examine this proposed policy is a legal practitioner, Mr. Joshua Alogu. He joins me from our studios in Abuja. Mr. Alogu, I'm glad you could join us on the News at 10 tonight.
Thank you.
Who exactly would you say qualifies as a whistleblower?
A whistleblower is any person that can be corporate or individual that have a privileged information about a financial transaction that is done illegally in contravention of laid down rules. By exposing such transaction, that means that it has a prior knowledge of the transaction. That means that it's an insider to some extent. It can be a PA, like what happened in Ekiti State, where a PA, the orderly to a major general, recorded the transaction between his boss and the other political actors. And when he released those videos, he created a lot of uproar as to the transparency of the election, the money that was exchanged. So usually a whistleblower must be an insider. Otherwise, you cannot get a real information.
So should there be the option of anonymity? Would that affect the credibility of the information being given?
No, it will not necessarily. And if you look at the whistleblower and you look at other jurisdictions, you must also take into cognizance the structural incentive. What makes corruption thrive is because we celebrate corrupt people. We know those persons because they live above their means, and most of the PAs are the ones that run errands. If you recall what happened during the time of Tafa Balogun, it was his PA that, because of one transaction that went awry, that it disclosed every aspect of the property that was owned by the former IGP, that is Tafa Balogun. That means that for anonymity, the person must at the same time have an inside working relationship with the person in order for him to give a credible eyewitness report. Otherwise, within the confines of the law, it will be deemed to be a hearsay evidence.
Mr. Logo, we're waiting to see how this new policy plays out in the next few days. But following a whistleblower's report, there should be an investigation. If it's against a government official, should that government official be immune to checks if allegations are brought before or made about that particular government official?
I think that question is very fundamental within Nigeria criminal jurisprudence, because we have not actually appreciated the essence of immunity. Immunity within Nigeria Constitution covers only 4 office holders. That is the president, vice president, governor, and deputy governor. So irrespective of the high-ranking office, such as the Senate president, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, down to the ministers, there is no immunity in criminality. It's very fundamental. But we play politics and we bring religiosity or sentiment into a cankerous, monstrous virus that is killing the foundation of Nigeria. So the issue of immunity will not arise once the whistleblower have brought information that there's prima facie evidence based on the investigation from the relevant authority. And for that to be effective, the institution must be independent. The institution must not be built within an individual, because that is the challenge we have in Nigeria. We wait for prompting before investigating weighty allegations. There are a lot of files that still lie dormant in the office of EFCC to date. But once the person is on the other side of the political party, it seems to be a saint. So if we want to make this initiative or policy credible, workable, and doable, the institution for such as EFCC, ICP, and DSS must act on the petition from any person that you feel that those evidence is credible. And the other dimension I want us to look in this whistleblower issue is within the financial regulation system or institution. A lot of accounts, as I speak, lie dormant in billions. And if you recall, there was a brief that was given by the Attorney General to George Ubo, the MD of PASS, that is Panic Alert Security System. There's a lot of money because BVN that a lot of persons cannot lay claim to as we speak. So what happened to those banks? And if you recall, within EFCC, there is this National Financial Intelligence Unit that ought to trigger unusual alert and also report to CBN. But if those institutions are not working, it will just mere a comedy to divert the populace from the real issue. If not, it's a commendable and plausible way of rewarding the system. It's more like recovering of property or debt within the civil procedure. You know, when you recover a debt, you are entitled to 10%, but if the magnitude of the amount is so bulky or huge, the percentage can be negotiated. So it's not a novel issue, but we must look at the workability of the whole initiative. If the powder bill will allow it to work against any person that is suspected to have corruptly enriched himself, and there's a credible information that has been disclosed by the whistleblower, then the system will work effectively for Nigeria.
Mr. Joshua Logo, I appreciate you bringing up all of those cases and joining us tonight on the News at 10 to discuss this new policy. We'll wait and see how it plays out in the next few days. Mr. Joshua Logo, a legal practitioner from Abuja.